Hey everyone, it's Corona from the Headphone Show. Today I want to share with you my favorite gaming headsets under $100. Let's check them out. Alright, so over the past few weeks I've had the chance to listen to a number of different gaming headsets, and I have to say that there's quite a few here that I've actually been pretty impressed with. I should note that as a PC gamer, I did all of my listening and testing while playing on my computer, but all of the headsets that I'll be talking about in this video are actually compatible with PC, Xbox, and PlayStation platforms. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to say that if you enjoy content like this, make sure to subscribe to the Headphone Show here on YouTube. Next week, I'll actually be comparing what we consider to be a hi-fi gaming setup versus a hi-fi certified headset. So stick around and stay tuned for when that video drops by hitting the notification bell. Without further ado, let's get things rolling by checking out the Logitech G435. The G435 is one of Logitech's more recent audio offerings, and when it comes to value for money, it doesn't really get much better than this in the gaming audio market. While it normally retails at $79.99, at the time of me filming this video, you can very easily find this headset available for under 60 bucks. And for that money, you're getting a simple plug and play, low latency wireless headset that actually delivers astonishingly solid performance. Out of the box, it has a very neutral sounding tonality, and honestly, out of the headphones that I have been listening to recently, it's probably got one of the best tonalities I've heard in a headset, and one that I described as being, it's like neutral but with a bass boost. In the lower registers, there's a pronounced mid-bass bump at around 150 Hertz, but it's nowhere near as exaggerated as it tends to be on many other gaming headsets. So it gives you enough bass to keep things like explosions sounding deep and punchy without getting in the way of other frequency ranges. Additionally, I was quite impressed with the mid-range and treble tuning on this headset. Although the upper mid-range feels a tiny bit cooled down at around 4K, the mids still have a rich and present sound, while the treble is bright enough to highlight the crunch of sound cues like footsteps and weapon reloads, but not bright to the point at which, it's harsh or sibilant or fatiguing or anything like that. More importantly though, is the fact that this headphone has great staging capabilities that provide a good sense of distance and surprisingly precise imaging that easily delineated the directionality of sound. In this regard, I found it to be a very reliable headset to use for when playing, things like online FPS games. Unfortunately, like all headsets, the G435 does have its drawbacks, or things that I feel as though I should at least draw your attention to, with the main issue that I experienced with the G435 actually being the comfort. The pads are large and very breathable, but the headband doesn't extend very far, so if you have a big head like mine, what happens is that the top of the headband flattens quite a bit, and it does tend to create a bit of a pressure spot near the crown of my head, requiring me to take off the headset on and off after a while just to relieve some of that tension. Then there's the microphone, which, well, it's serviceable, but as you can hear, it kind of sounds like I'm talking through a tin can, if I'm being honest. Considering the price at which this headset is available and the sound quality it delivers while being wireless, I'm willing to forgive the poor mic quality, although I just wanted to give you the heads up that your friends might think you sound weird talking through this thing, and that you definitely do not want to do any sort of voiceover content with the G435. For good old-fashioned gaming though, this headset is a steal for its price point, and I'd go as far as calling it the budget gaming audio king. Next up, we have what is currently my favorite wired headset under $100, one that was released very recently, I think within the last month or two, and it's the Sony Inzone H3 from their new Inzone lineup of gaming headsets. The H3 is the entry-level model to the Inzone series, but it shares a lot of the same features of its more expensive brethren, while also delivering pretty good sound quality for its $99 price point. While some listeners may find the H3 to sound a bit bright or analytical due to the lean bass response and slightly scooped out lower mids, I find that the counterclockwise tilt to the H3's frequency response, which emphasizes the upper mids and lower treble, is perfect for playing FPS games in particular, as it does a very good job at highlighting the top end strike and crisp of the sound cues that are crucial for those type of games. Additionally, I find that the soundstage's ability here to convey a sense of space and provide accurate imaging and directional audio outperforms what other popular headsets such as the SteelSeries Arctis 5 can achieve. Another thing I'd like to draw your attention to on the H3 is the microphone quality here, which, as you can hear, is really good. It's just a tiny bit nasally, but this is probably the most natural sounding microphone I've heard on a sub $100 headset. Unfortunately, I don't have the PC37 or PC38X with me at the moment to compare, but this is an impressive mic nonetheless. It breaks up a little bit when I get loud, but honestly, I feel like this microphone is good enough to stream with or do maybe some voiceover stuff for videos. Lastly, you also get access to Sony's new Inzone Hub app if you're on PC, which grants you access to a few EQ presets and a 10-band equalizer, mic side tone settings, as well as spatial audio. Now, while the spatial audio can make the audio environment sound more expansive, it does so by drastically changing the headphone's tonality, adding a very significant cut to the mid-range that makes for a very unnatural sound, and one that I found to be detrimental to the headset's ability to present oral information. So my recommendation would be to keep it in stereo or just use it as a plug-and-play headset without Inzone Hub, as I don't find that it really needs it to perform its best. Now, before moving on to the last headset I want to cover, I just want to give a quick shout out to the HyperX Cloud Alpha, as I find that if you prefer a slightly warmer sound signature, it's a great alternative to the H3. And since it's a little bit older, you're also more likely to find it available on sale. So you can get this for quite a bit cheaper than the H3. Last but not least, there's the Corsair HS70 Pro Wireless, which at $99.99 is one of the most impressive gaming headsets I've actually tried to date, even when comparing it to more expensive ones. The first thing that really stood out to me about this headset was how premium it felt. The build features a mix of plastic and metal elements, but it feels very rugged and sturdy. So as a user, it definitely inspired confidence in the headset not breaking down easily. The clamp force was a little bit on the tighter side, but I generally found the HS70 to be a very comfortable headset to wear, as the headband and pads felt stable and they distributed the headphone's weight very evenly. Also wanted to mention that although the pads use a faux leather wrapping, they didn't really get too hot in my experience, even after very long gaming sessions. Then there was the headset's sound, which at first for me was a little bit underwhelming because the stock tuning out of the box was not very clean sounding, as a result of a fairly aggressive bass shelf that bled into the lower mid-range in combination with slightly veiled upper mids and treble. However, the HS70 is supported by Corsair's IQ software, which, as expected, gives you access to side tone settings, EQ presets, a surround sound toggle, which we'll talk about a bit more briefly, and a 10-band equalizer, which allowed me to get a really good tonality and frequency response out of the HS70. Once I got a tonality that I was happy with, I was able to appreciate some of the really good sonic qualities that the headset had to offer, while also making it a lot better for things like FPS games, since the bass response no longer occluded sound cues that are more prominent in other frequency registers. Additionally, while I personally prefer to play in stereo, I was quite impressed by the surround sound implementation of the HS70. Enabling the surround sound on this headset didn't actually affect the tonality as much as I expected, but it was still effective at creating a more open sounding soundscape without breaking the headset's imaging performance. It maintained an accurate sense of directionality. This was a feature that I mostly enjoyed using when playing single player games on my TV, such as Red Dead Redemption 2 as an example. Now, one thing I want to point out is that Windows recognizes the HS70 as an 8-channel audio device, so you'll want to make sure that your game is set to output audio and surround sound to get the full effect. If there was one thing I wanted to mention about the HS70, aside from benefiting significantly from EQ, was that I found the microphone to be a little dark sounding. You can hear that my voice sounds full, but it's lacking in some top end, so while it sounds
mostly clean, it may not cut through as well as the microphone on other headsets.
Overall though, I find the HS70 to be a fantastic headset for its price point, outperforming more expensive headsets I've tried, and I truly feel as though it delivers one of the most premium experiences in this price bracket. It may not be important for gaming, but they're using really solid drivers in this headset. It even has a pretty decent detail retrieval and very good dynamics. It gives you a very nice punch and slam. It really feels like a complete package. So there you have it. Those are my favorite gaming headsets under $100. Regardless of which one you choose to go with, I'm certain that you'll be very happy with the quality and features that all of these have to offer. I'll tell you that there was certainly nothing nearly this good at this price point when I was first getting into gaming. One last thing is that for those who are interested in trying them, I'll leave my EQ presets for both the HS70 and the Inzone H3 in the description down below. But anyways, that is all for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video or found it useful. If you did, consider dropping a like and let us know if you'd like us to cover some of the more high-end gaming headsets available out there. As always, you can check out more in-depth audio content by checking out the review section on headphones.com. But until next time, this is Chrono signing off.